Nobody from the coalition government was available to talk about the Prime Minister's speech, but I am joined now by Nigel Farage, who's laughing. Nigel Farage of UKIP, Keith Vaz, who's Labour Chairman of the Home Affairs Select Committee, and the Conservative MP Dominic Raab. Everybody's been at pains to say we really are agreed on the policy within the coalition. But can you tell me what you are actually agreed on in terms of policy?
Well, it's very clear. You can read the coalition agreement. It's set out on one page in clear terms. We agree on an annual limit on non-EU migration, a border police force, cracking down on sham marriages, cracking down on bogus colleges. And David Cameron has been talking consistently about this since October 2007, I remember. And actually what he's been saying today is very consistent with what he said before. We want to get the overall level of net economic migration down, and we want tougher enforcement of border controls and more learning of English before people come to this country, particularly family and students.
But what was not agreed in the coalition was the numbers, the talk of tens of thousands and going back to the 80s. That is not agreed, is it? Well,
David Cameron talked about this consistently in the run-up to the election. But
not agreed with the Lib Dems.
No. What is in the coalition agreement is an annual limit. Now, the detail of
without the numbers.
And the mechanism, of course, but not every bit of every speech is written into the coalition deal. I mean, we're starting to split hairs a little bit here.
Well, Vince Cable said it was unwise. Or was he unwise to call it unwise?
Well, you know, I mean, look, Nick Clegg said he was proud. His spokesperson said he was proud of the coalition policy on immigration. I'm not going to get my knickers in a twist every time Vince Cable blows his nose on policy. And actually, it's pretty healthy to have a bit of debate about these things. But the policy is clear, crystal clear.
It's crystal clear, and one of the things that came up today is that net EU immigration into this country is going down, although you understand you don't entirely agree with the Immigration Minister on the figures on that.
No, he got the figures wrong this morning. Look, in 2010, fewer people came from the EU to settle in Britain. But already,
which is what you want.
But already in 2011, those numbers are heading up. And the one thing that wasn't discussed today by the coalition, or indeed by the Labour Party, is that on May the 1st, in 2 weeks' time, we have a major change to the social security rules in this country. Anybody that comes from Poland and 7 other European countries from May the 1st has the same entitlement to benefits in this country as all the rest of us here do today. And that's going to mean another very large migratory wave coming in from Eastern Europe. I think it will, yes.
Isn't it jobs that they come for?
They come for jobs, but they come for benefits too. And I mean, don't forget, you know, there are currently 43,000 children in Warsaw who get family benefit from people working in this country. And that doesn't make sense to anybody. How can Cameron control numbers when we have an open door to the whole of Eastern Europe?
Keith Vaz, I mean, one of the things that there is agreement about in the coalition is that you're to blame. It's all Labour's fault. You left the door open. You didn't really look after this policy.
First of all, I think Dominic's right. I think it's very important that we should have a debate about immigration. If we don't do it, then it's left to the far right. And no one should criticise the Prime Minister for raising this issue. I think if you have a debate on immigration, though, the first issue is the data, and the data is flawed. We have no mechanism to count people out of this country. That's because when the contract was originally given by the last government, the company who were undertaking it did not do it properly.
But you had years to sort it out, which is one of the many things that people say about the Labour Party.
The previous government ought to have done more. I think there is agreement on abuse, on sham marriages, on bogus colleges. Much more should have been done. But the reduction in the backlog of cases, the asylum backlog, started under the last government, will be completed in July under this government. But the fact is, out of the 408,000 cases that they were considering, almost half have been given the right to stay here. The problem with the cap is that it's got too many holes. If you exclude students, which are the biggest numbers, that means, and you exclude intra-company transfers, then the cap really is meaningless.
So it's unrealistic, it's meaningless, he says.
No, look, first of all, let's be very clear. The big problem under Labour was in 2003 when David Blunkett said there's no obvious upper limit on the level of immigration into this country. Major fork in the road, major failure, systemic failure of policy. What we're now saying is, and Nigel and I and Damien Green and others can quibble about the numbers, but the overwhelming majority of net migration into this country on any of the benchmarks is non-EU.
But do you take Keith Vaz's point there, which is that there's agreement on a lot of this, but actually controlling specific bits means it's going to be full of holes whichever government's in power?
No, I don't think think so. We've seen new policy set out very clearly today on how you deal with dependents coming to this country. We've got tightening up of the rules on students coming to this country. There's a lot of painstaking detail going into it, and you're absolutely right. It's about putting together the bits of the jigsaw puzzle to get a sensible overall policy.
Well, I believe it when I see it. You know, if this government really does get tough on non-EU migration, I will applaud them for doing so. I doubt
we're already doing it.
I doubt they've got the courage.
But there is already a cap in place.
But I mean,
the
it's
irony is
amazing
you're
that
actually
David Cameron...
closer to him than Vince Cable on this, aren't you?
Well, Vince Cable is out of touch with everybody, isn't he? I mean,
let me put it a less ad hominem argument. You're
point.
closer to UKIP's view on this than you are to the views of the Liberal Democratic leadership.
When you've got a government policy on immigration which is being criticised by both the BNP and by someone like Vince Cable, I think we're steering a pretty moderate course.
The fact is, Gavin, that Vince has won most of the arguments. When we were preparing our report into student visas, it was the business department that was arguing very strongly that any reduction in student numbers was going to damage the £40 billion. He won that battle. He won the battle over intercompany transfers.
That's not correct.
And the fact is, the cap at the moment, sadly, has so many exemptions, it's not really a cap.
Just one big point here, which actually you kind of alluded to. If welfare reform goes through in this country, won't that cut immigrant numbers?
Well, the fact is, it will take time. I think the Prime Minister is right to focus on
welfare
this.
reform could help cut the number of immigrants.
But the fact is, for example, take specialist chefs. It's going to be very difficult to get specialist chefs into the country. You can't deal with that problem by just telling people they've got to come off benefits.
But you could.
Cameron's argument
sure that they come.
Cameron's argument was that for people on benefit who go to take low-paid jobs, there is a massive disincentive to go to work because of a tax system, and that was a very fair point.
I agree with that. I think there is something wrong with the
and I think it's
benefit
slightly more
system.
sophisticated than that. I think what we're saying is we've become too dependent on cheap labour from abroad, and coupled with a welfare system that traps too many people and disincentivises them to work, there is a perverse incentives all round.
Okay, thank you all very much.